once was a man from Montana, same state I'm from. He loved the ocean. He had a house in Los Angeles, but his job was in Montana, so he had a really good paying job, and he decided to build this aquarium at his house because he had a lot of money and loved the ocean so much. So in this aquarium, he had this huge pool, and there was this ginormous great white shark that he had. It looked like the Mandalay Bay or something when you walked in there. It was a really cool aquarium. And so he has these three guys come over one day, his friends, and they're checking out this pool, and like, well, that's a sick pool, like we can swim some laps in there, and then they see the fin poke out, and then, holy smokes, that's a great white shark. So this guy sees them like, hey, we're checking out my shark in there. It's pretty cool, isn't it? And he tells the guys, I want to make you guys a bet. I want to bet you that if you can swim across this water, I'll write you a check for $1 million. He had a lot of money. And then he said, you know what, actually we want to give you a choice. I'll give you $1 million or I'll give you my daughter. Out walks this smoking hot, 5'7", long hair, blue eyes, great looking girl comes out. And the guys are like, hey, like looking at her, $1 million, like look at the shark, like, I don't know, like those things bite to kill, I think no test bite there. And so then the man's just talking with his daughter over there. They don't think anything's going to happen. Then all of a sudden, they hear this splash and look over, and there's one of the guys in the water just swimming for his life. He makes it. Gets across. The guy comes over to him. Congratulations. Do you want me to write you that $1 million check? The guy tells him, no, I don't want your money. Then he's like, oh, really do want my daughter, I guess. Okay. He's like, no. I want to know which one of those two pushed me in the pool. A lot of you here tonight might be feeling like this guy that got pushed in the pool. Maybe you know who pushed you in the pool, but you're not sure why you're here exactly. I can guarantee you there's no sharks in the Fragua pool, so you're good there. A few rubber duckies, but I want to encourage everyone to be open-minded what's in the pool too. So we're going to discover some great things, and I just want to encourage everyone to be really open-minded. I remember when I was a kid, something that scared me to death was thinking, man, what am I going to do for my life, like when I'm not a kid? Like, what job or whatever. So when I was like 6, I wanted to be an NBA basketball player. And that lasted for like 3 years. And then one thing we do a lot in Montana is skiing. So I went on this ski trip. It was cat skiing, which is like helicopter skiing, but like not quite that extreme, but more extreme than resort skiing. And it was just like 4 feet of fluffy, dry powder, like excellent day of skiing. And I told my mom, I want to be a cat skiing guide after that. And she thought I was pretty crazy. She's like, you got to work like 5 jobs to support yourself if you want to do that. But that passed pretty quickly, and then I thought, you know what, college is coming up. Like that'll be a good experience. And then you realize it's only 4 years long. If you're lucky, you get the bonus year, as Travis said, 5 years. But then I was thinking, now, you know what? Maybe it's not about a job. It's about like your body or something. I had this friend from high school. His name is Casey Myers. He was just ripped. He was just stacked. He had one of those necks that start coming down. And we were on the cross country team together, so I asked him, Casey, man, how are you so ripped? Like, that's not from running. If it is, like, then I'm not running right. And he's like, no, cross country, that's like 1/10 of my workout schedule. I do like weightlifting all the time and like wrestling with my dad and boxing and stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty intense. We went and got Mexican food one time together, and I remember him running running to the restaurant, ordering the grande burrito, and then he ran home after eating. I was just like, wow, that's intense. So I worked out with him for a while, coming into college, kept it up for a bit, and then after reaching that pinnacle of perfection, decided that there's got to be more to life than this. There's got to be something else. So one day we're all going to get old, and there aren't a lot of 90-year-olds with like really huge necks. So I mean, there's got to be something else. So if I could, I would take a picture of you all with a camera like this, because in the words of the great philosopher Christina Aguilera, you are beautiful, no matter what they say. They being the scientists, because according to the cold, hard, biological and physiological facts, we're just a pile of dust. We are just a bunch of chemical elements thrown together that are kind of spinning around each other. If you don't believe me, listen to this. The average human body contains enough sulfur to kill all fleas on an average dog, enough carbon to make 900 pencils, enough potassium to fire a toy cannon, enough fat to make 7 bars of soap, and enough phosphorus to make 2,200 matches, and enough water to fill a 10-gallon tank. Now that's very interesting. I was very interested when I first heard that. I love matches and elements and enzymes, the pentose phosphate pathway and all this other science stuff. It doesn't do much for our self-esteem, especially if maybe we're one of those people that make more than 7 bars of soap. But believe it or not, this is the same view the Bible has. In Psalm 103 it says, "For he knows how we are formed, remembers that we are dust. As for man, his days are like the grass. He blossoms like a flower in the field. A wind sweeps over it and it is gone. Its place knows it no more." So long before any scientist could figure any of this stuff out, the Bible sees that we are physical bodies, that we are organic entities. In short, we're dust. And it's so common in our day that everything's about the body because we can relate to this so well. I mean, you see it in magazines, fashion, lifting, cosmetics, on the media. Like, the body is everything. I saw this statistic that apparently there was a 40% rise in cosmetic surgery in the U.S. last year. And that's according to the American Academy of Facial Plastic and Reconstructive Surgery. So, fair enough, good to have a great body and look great, but that's not going to prevent us from fading in the field one day, just like a flower. So others may say, in response to that, I know it's not the body isn't everything, it's all about the mind, it's about the brain, it's about knowledge, moving forward, progressing, leaving the world a richer, better place. We all want to achieve something great. I do. I'm studying bioengineering. I would like to attribute something great to that field. Some of us want to leave a legacy for the next generation that says he or she was here, that mattered so much. But to be honest, as we progress, are we going to be able to keep it up? Albert Einstein put it this way: the significant problems we face cannot be solved at the same level of thinking we were at when we created them. So you think of like when cars were created or whatever to solve the issue of transportation and trains. And then you think of all the pollutants that have arisen from that, or dropping an atomic bomb, like the aftermath, the effects that we're dealing with. We're having to use a much greater level of thinking to solve that. So intellectually with the mind, we should be giants by now, but there's brokenness. We get things wrong sometimes. There's faults. So the mind, even though it's taken us far, is not the ultimate answer. We do get things wrong, sometimes innocently, sometimes not so innocently. And sometimes they like to just blow up the mistakes, publish them, these are some mistakes from the Advanced Placement English Test, AP English Test. I hope none of you guys wrote this. One person wrote this. In the first book of the Bible, Genesis, Adam and Eve were created from an apple tree. One of their children, Cain, asked, "Am I my brother's son?" Another wrote this. Moses led the Hebrew slaves to the Red Sea, where they made unleavened bread, which is bread made without any ingredients at all. Moses went up to Mount Sinai to get the 10 Commandments. He died before he reached Canada. And finally this. Johann Bach wrote many great musical compositions and had a large number of children. Bach died from 1750 to present. Bach was the most famous composer in the world, and so was Handel. Handel was half German and half Italian and half English. He was very large. So the mistakes we make can be relatively harmless. But the things we do really do matter. The things we do wrong really do matter. We can still see our brokenness. At the Fragua course here, one thing we'll do at the end is we'll all get into small groups. We'll have a small group discussion with some questions. One of the questions that you'll have tonight is, if God exists, what is one thing I would ask him? And you don't have to write that down or anything. I'll have it on the screen at the end. One of the people in the past, there have been many funny answers, and then there's been some very profound answers. One of the persons at the table asked, "Can I be forgiven?" Let me go back to that psalm here again. There it is. All right. It says, "As a father has compassion on his children, so the Lord has compassion on those who fear him. The Lord's mercy is from age to age toward those who fear him. His salvation is for the children's children of those who keep his covenant and remember to carry out his precepts. For as the heavens tower over the earth, so his mercy tower over those who fear him. As far as the east is from the west, so far has he removed our sins from us." Let me go back to that tripod we saw earlier. I had one up here and I couldn't find it. I was going to bring it, but I like to think this tripod is a great model for our lives. One leg is the body, working out, taking care of our bodies. The second leg is the mind, or the intellect. And so if you think of 2 legs on a tripod and having it try to stand, maybe if you had no wind, you could get it to balance for a while, but eventually it's going to fall over. So the third leg is the spirit. Freddie Mercury, there he is, the lead singer in the rock band Queen, had millions and millions of fans and millions of dollars, lots of fame, very famous person. I was a huge fan. Another one, Bites the Dust. That's one of my favorite songs. But right before he died, they conducted an interview, and he admitted in this interview that he was very lonely. He said, "You can have everything in the world and still be the loneliest man, and that is the most bitter type of loneliness. Success has brought me world idolization and millions of dollars, but it is preventing me from having the one thing we all need, a loving and ongoing relationship.